Hey folks, this is Colin Richards. I'm president and founder of Lord and Richards. And in this episode of the Lord and Richards Show, I'm going to be talking to you about the terrible year that markets have had this past year, how it happened, and the lessons that we can learn and apply right now. As you know, I lead a team of wonderful advisors here across the Front Range who are helping people every day, just like you, to achieve financial independence. And the way we do that is we help you build a plan, a written, comprehensive financial independence roadmap so that you can retire with certainty or remain retired with certainty and not worry about these volatile events outside of your control. And then you can go do the things that you love with the people that you love being with. And so how did this happen? Well, let me go back in time 1 year to 2021. And in 2021, we were enjoying a raging bull market, okay? A wonderful rebound, a euphoric high as markets were surging. And the expectation was for more of the same from the general populace and from the media. But there were signs brewing. And all through 2020 and 2021, we were warning our clients, go back and check our videos out, check out our podcasts, check out the articles that we've written. We've been warning people that these markets were just another example of the irrational exuberance. That's a term Ben Bernanke used in his speech before the dot-com bubble burst in 2000, sending the markets plunging. And this is just another example of that kind of irrational exuberance where markets were being driven forward, not because things had fundamentally improved and the economy was going to be okay, but because people were driven to want to make money while it was possible to do that. Get it while it's hot. So the markets bounced off a 30% drop in April 2020, came flying back, and people got it back in at various times if they had gotten out. And people assumed that the worst was over. It's really startling how little information people use to make that decision. And the government, meanwhile, pumped over $7 trillion into the system to try to keep businesses and households afloat. And the markets assumed everything would be coming up roses, right? Oh, just a little bit more government spending and we're all good. The assumption was we can do this forever. Of course, we knew the music was going to stop. And with more cash on hand than any other time in my memory, people drove up the cost of everything from meat to housing. And inflation began its inevitable rise into the stratosphere. And we saw it coming. It was happening in 2021, but people were hoping that it would just sort of self-correct, right? It was a temporary situation, we were being told by the government and by the Federal Reserve, right? It was a short-term result of pumping the money in, but as people spent it, it would work its way out of the system. By the end of 2021, inflation was at rates not seen in a generation, and people were paying more for the necessities of life, everything, and the wages weren't necessarily keeping up. Oh, people got raises and people were leaving their jobs during what we call the Great Resignation in order to go somewhere else and be attracted in to the workforce at a higher rate, right? So employers were on the back foot. Employees were in charge. Well, that's flipped now, right? As jobs are becoming more scarce, especially in the high-end industries and not just referring to the service industries, but the industries that require a greater skill level. So at the start of 2022, the Federal Reserve finally decided to act. Too little, too late. And they kicked in the punishment of rapidly increasing interest rates. Why? Because they had delayed and delayed and delayed. They should have been doing this all through the same period, but they were afraid. They were afraid, right? And then, of course, who would have predicted Russia's war in Ukraine coming at the absolutely worst time, sending volatility into almost every area of the global economy, from grain to high-tech industries. And borrowers, people who were regularly drawing money in order to expand their businesses or expand their household, were punished. Oh, punished by increased rates in order to stem the flow of money. The Fed was trying to slow down the money. And if people can't borrow as easily, it slows down growth. And the markets, of course, reacted naturally. They said, well, At last, we have a reason, a very clear reason to decline. And the markets did decline, and precipitously so. And so the recession was priced in. The recession. Oh, we've been hearing about soft landings and all that for the whole year. That's not going to happen. Recession is real. We've already had 2 quarters with one nice growth quarter in the middle, 2 quarters already this year, and probably the 4th quarter as well. So likely 3 out of 4 quarters going down, and we're going to see that headed into 2023. The housing market, of course, started to lead the decline down, and interest rates, right? Because of the high interest rates, mortgage rates went up, and so interest in buying a home has gotten less and less and less as sellers stubbornly refuse to reduce their prices. They will. When they have to move, they will. And I was there during the real estate collapse in 2007. Eventually, people could capitulate when they have to move, right? And so for the first time in recent memory, mortgage rates have killed the housing market. And the traditional safe haven for investors, right? Where's that? Bonds, right? Corporate bonds. This was creamed because existing bonds, even government bonds, lost value as new bonds were issued that had better rates, right? Why buy your lousy old, 3% interest rate bond if a 4% one is available? And so having to discount the price in order to, or add a premium to the price in order to liquidate a bond portfolio, a terrible thing. And so for the first time, I notice I keep saying first time. The word unprecedented has literally officially become overused, right? For the first time in history, we saw the 60-40 portfolio of stocks and bonds that so many sheepishly depend on go down together into a bear market of 20% negative or greater. First time we've seen that. So where do you run? Where do you hide? Well, a ray of sunshine has broken through. And I'm glad to say that our clients have been participating in that ray all year long, because people who chose alternatives to bond for the safe portion of their portfolio and maybe for their growth portion were not only protected from the bear market, but are now being positioned for one of the greatest opportunities for savers in history. And I'm going to address this in our next segment called Savers Finally Rewarded. And here's what I want you to do. I would love to talk to you about how you can take advantage of this window of opportunity. It exists for a period of time, and then it's going to go away. Just like our tax window of opportunity will eventually go away in a couple years. This new investment opportunity for savers, people who are interested in protection, will go away. But right now, the time has never been better. And this is not ultimately the solution. This is part of a plan, and we want to help you develop a plan to achieve financial independence and do it without worry. It just starts with a simple phone call.